voters fuming over President Biden's sweeping vaccine mandate. One Tennessee mayor says he is refusing to comply. Knox County Mayor Republican Glenn Jacobs, a.k.a. Kane from WWE. He wrote a letter to the president saying in part, quote, "In Knox County, we know what we stand for. We stand for freedom. We stand for the rule of law. We stand for the Constitution. And you can rest assured that we will stand against your blatant and egregious executive overreach." So is the law on his side? Joining me to discuss, Mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, Glenn Jacobs is back. One of my very favorite freedom fighters. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. So this is obviously executive overreach, regardless of how you feel about COVID. No one likes COVID. No one wants COVID. No one wants anyone to get or give COVID. But the president cannot make these mandates. As you say, it's a violation of both the First and 10th Amendments.
Well, absolutely. And this is not about the vaccines. That's a completely different issue. And as you said, it's not about COVID itself, although that precipitated all of this, of course. But it is about the president just deciding that I'm going to ride along myself. I'm going to go around Congress. I'm going to use an emergency order through OSHA and the Department of Labor that's going to impact tens of millions of people. And I'm going to do it without any debate. And that's not how you do things constitutionally, and that's not how we should do things in America.
And as you pointed out, there's a labor shortage right now. It's really hard to get people to go to work. Are you finding that in Knox County?
Absolutely. The Knox County government employs about 2,700 people. So we are a pretty large employer, and we have a lot of open spots that we're trying to fill. And then we look at the private sector, it's the same thing. There's help wanted signs everywhere, now hiring signs everywhere around the county. And of course, what this is going to do is this is going to hamper our ability and folks in the private sector even more from attracting quality employees, because some people just aren't going to want to go along with the vaccine mandate, and they're not going to work someplace that has one.
So it's really interesting because Bill Maher brought this up last week on Jimmy Kimmel. He said for touring acts, whether it's comics or musicians, it's impossible for them to perform in blue states because the press has been scaring the living daylights out of them. But in red states where things are more rational and people are told to make their best decisions for themselves, you can go and play and perform and make money. Is there a clear demarcation right now between blue states and red states, and who will ultimately prevail?
I think we are almost living in two Americas. Say, look at this weekend. In New York City, have a vaccine mandate. Meanwhile, down here at SEC football, we've got 100,000 fans at the games. So, yes, there is this clear demarcation between the two Americas. Economically, of course, I think that the folks that have done a much more reasonable job of dealing with COVID and taking a much more comprehensive approach in that they've protected individual liberty, they've thought about the economic implications of all these things. I think that they're going to win out. Our economy is really strong in Knox County, just like everyone else. It's very tragic what's happened with COVID here, but our economy is strong because we've taken a much more even-handed approach than many places around the country have.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people are looking to places like Tennessee to pick up and move and put their root down long term, because they want to live in a place where, freedom and liberty are respected. When the president says it's not about freedom, that like a giant alarm should go off in everyone's mind so they understand, no, it is about freedom.
Yeah, it's America, Kennedy. It's always about freedom here. It always should be about freedom.
Glenn Jacobs, you are phenomenal. Thank you so much for stopping by. Good to talk to you.
Thank you.
I was making so much money with DoorDash. I wanted to earn money in my free time, but...
All right, I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to Call Loyam La Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Racha, Kodash Rakatham. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwat, any Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, which appear like the other nations in appearance, but subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. Salakia, it's the brother Yawasapa at the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Basically, that video popped up on my news feed or my suggested videos on YouTube. Salakia. Bear with me for a second. Salakia. Had to open up some windows. So, basically, yeah, so as you can see, out of, this Edomite's mouth, which that was a form of video because I didn't know that was that wrestler. Didn't know he's a politician showing you how fake and fraudulent and just America joke. Because this guy on one hand is an entertainer, but then the next, on the other hand, he a politician. And then they're pushing Tennessee as being a state like they're pushing Texas. So let's see how that goes, because at the end of the day, it tells you no man knows the hour. Yahushua doesn't know when he coming back. So, some brothers might be correct, but some things we just gonna have to sit back, on their observations. I mean, but sometimes we just gonna have to sit back and watch the Most High work, like it's like chapter Psalms 119, 126 says, it's time for the Lord to work. But anyhow, they kept on mentioning that word demarcation. So I looked it up, and it says the dividing line, basically, or setting limits and boundaries, marking of limits or boundaries of something. So basically, the division, splitting up something. And basically, you hear they talking about these red states and these blue states. And it made me think of something because, I was thinking about in the John chapter 10. And basically, John chapter 10 and 10 is when Yahushua was basically giving a sermon, or he's speaking to the congregation, or he's speaking to the people or the crowd, or however you want to put it. But he was giving, like how in Matthew 5, it was the Sermon on the Mount. Well, he was speaking again. And basically, I came across, because I did a search on scriptures on division. And, basically he was talking to people. I'll just pull some out, and then I'll get to the point. This is John 10 and 27 says, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. So he was talking amongst the crowd, but he was speaking to specific people, just like how we do. We go out week in, week out on the highways and hedges, and we speak to a crowd of people, but we're not searching for the whole crowd of people. We're casting a line to catch those that's actually of the elect. You know what I mean? Because only the hopeful elect are going to actually hear this, and their spirit's going to be attuned to it. Everybody doesn't see what's going on. You know what I mean? Meaning, so it just made me get to thinking about how, division is really of the Lord. You know what I mean? And that's how the Lord is about to work, because this country has never been more divided than it is right now. You clearly see it, and like I said, I found that video very interesting because I do videos pretty much on, like I just did one recently about, like, you had a lot of this police officer, and it was talking about how these Navy SEALs are about to a lot of them basically step down or retire because they're not trying to get jabbed up. And it was a police officer that was a former Navy SEAL. So you got situations like that, but now you already knew about the politicians that didn't agree. That's why you had certain states that didn't even lock down when the country went into lockdown. It makes a lot of sense that they went through the OSHA to actually enforce this whole mask mandate and whatnot in this vaccine. Well, not mask mandate, the vaccine man. I mean, say that well, so through the spirit. The vaccine mandate, due to the fact, OSHA is the organization that basically deals with occupations. You know what I mean? That this government set up. Show you how funny this is. And then, like I said, it goes into, this isn't really about the fact that, you know, protecting you, because the thing is, you know, you got people that's still getting it after they done took the stabbing jab. So any rational person will question like, well, why would I really want to take that if you got still you still have a chance of you take something to keep you from getting it or whatnot. But if you still got an opportunity, or it's still possible to, I mean to say opportunity, still possible to what's the word, to basically come down with this or catch this or be affected by this, then I should have the right to be like, well, I don't want to take it. You had a right to say you want to take it, you know what I mean? But they're telling you you don't have a right, you have no choice. They're telling about it's not about personal freedom. You know what I mean? They literally, this is what this guy said. So that's letting you know. And the elder Yashawamba did a beautiful video about, he went into the history and the understanding of democracy. Everybody was screaming democracy. My two-third brother even knew about America's supposed to be founded on a republic, you know, because republic was supposed to be for the people. You know what I mean? And he went into how when you go into democracy, democracy actually came from Athens. And basically, you know, when we always go into that politician, Drake Cohn, that when you get the word draconian from, it's the same city, Athens. Salakia for the digression. It says, but verse 20 says he was telling the crowd, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. So he gave this sermon, and then he went into the Jews, answering him, saying, for a good work we stone thee. Oh, Salakia, I jumped too far. He said, my father, okay, I'm going to read verse 28. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. Verse 29, my father which gave them me is greater than all, proving that it's elect. Because everybody's not going to get it. That's the division right there. You know what I mean? You got a group of people, but it's only a select few that was given onto this understanding, this wisdom, and knowledge. And what makes the elect is because everybody may hear it, but everybody's not going to actually attempt to or change their ways or come back, you know, or repent. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's a division again right there. You know, or separation. Verse 30, I and my father are one. Then the Jews took up stones again to stone him. Yahushua answered them, many good works have I showed you from my father. For which of those works do ye stone me? The Jews answered him, saying, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, and because that thou being a man makest thyself power, or Yahweh. Verse 34, Yahushua answered them, is it not written in your law, I say ye are gods? Verse 35, if ye call them gods unto whom the word of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua came, and the scripture cannot be broken, say ye of him whom the Father hath sanctified and sent into the world, thou blasphemest, because I say I am the Son of the Most High God. Verse 37, if I do not the works of my Father, believe me not. But if I do not the works of my Father, believe me not. But if I do though ye believe not me, believe the works, that ye may know and believe that the Father is in me and I am in him. So lucky, because I'm looking for, it was a point. The point was I think I skipped it. Bear with me for a second. Yeah, Salaki, I skipped it. So, like I said, he was giving a sermon, and then he said, I lay down my life for my sheep and other sheep I have, which are not. So basically, he was giving a sermon, and it said, no man take it from me. He said, therefore do for my Father love me, because I laid down my life that I might take it again. Verse 18, no man take it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father. Verse 19, there was a division, therefore, again among the Jews for these sayings. Verse 20, and many of them said, he hath a devil and is mad. Why hear ye him? Verse 21, others said, these are not the words of him that have a devil. Can a devil open the eyes of the blind? So basically, amongst the congregation of people he was speaking to, you had a part of them sitting up there saying, let's stone him, because of the fact that, you know, he was mad because his doctrine. And then you had another half saying that because they witnessed the miracles. And I always think about that, when Yahweh Shah was basically crucified, you got to remember, like, the same people, like, people believed. That's why he was able to do the miracles. And then people knew who he was. That's why he was telling people not to go back and say anything about it. So when they saw him, they knew who he was. So he was crucified in front of people that literally watched him do miracles. Why wouldn't he be angry when he come back? You know what I mean? I meditate on that sometimes. Because if you could ever imagine being lied on or betrayed, you know what I mean? If you've ever experienced that, just to magnify that. Because, these same people you was helping, literally, like, you know, I tend to think about that because, So, and just from my little puny mindset, I'll be like, well, damn, I imagine how I feel. Like the little shit I go through with my demon and whatnot, you know what I mean? I be thinking like with that and how I be feeling. So just imagine how angry Yahweh Shah Mashiach is. But that's what made me really prompted this lesson. I saw that video and then I thought about this. Yahweh Shah literally came with division. And it tells you that in the scriptures when you get the book of, let me see, book of, this is book of Luke. This book of Luke, chapter 51. It says, suppose ye that I come to give peace on earth, I tell you nay, but rather division. Verse 52 from, well, that's the point, because it talks about how he going to divide the household. And, mother against daughter, daughter against mother, father against son, son against father, you know what I mean? And you're going to have people that's going to be, you got people divided right now on this jab staff, right now. It's brothers in the truth and in the cap that I personally know that literally, talking about how they family members didn't really was up there looking at them crazy because they telling them the truth and telling them information about the stab and jab, but they so stuck in the world. My mother is going on like 70 years old. She took it. Her and her husband, because I won't say he was my stepdad because he never raised me or nothing, but he has done things for me, but that's neither here nor there. But he gets really sickly and they said he had it. So of course, and I can understand, I had his job like what was that, like 2019, prior to me going to Ancient of Days camp, going out there. Long story short, so that was like 2019, I think. And a lot of the men that worked there, a lot of the guys, they had like put in 20, 25 years. This was a union job. So they literally, like I had a back and forth with this one, Jake, because of the fact when you got to remember, a lot of those guys was older and they were saying to say that the older people were susceptible to it. So after somebody actually like spoke about it, because he laughed at it, but he was like, I feel where you coming from. He was like, but you got to pay attention. Dude probably feeling some kind of way because he more worried about it because they say he more susceptible to it. And I had to rethink it. I mean, it didn't even stop the truth in it. You know what I mean? Like, I just stopped dealing with him. You know what I mean? But long story short, you right. I mean, a lot of people is going, it's just like the brother Shamak from Detroit did the video about how you had the Jake that was part of the service, and basically he said he didn't want to take it, but he didn't want to have to deal with losing what he worked for in this world and yada yada yada. But the cold part about it is this. At the end of the day, you about to lose things anyway. You know what I mean? Like, and the Lord is not gonna respect the fact that you tried to, the Lord is not gonna respect the fact that, the Lord ain't gonna respect the fact that you try to stay and save your family because, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's not what you want or how you think it's supposed to be. It's how the Lord got it set up. Sometimes it took me a very, very long time to learn, I'm trying to do things my way as opposed to how the Lord got to set up. If it's happening to you, it's the way the Lord wanted. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. I also know that you could pray for certain things and the Lord will give you what you want. That's the mercies. But at the same time, you really need to understand is it, you know, by going through certain trials and tribulations, I understand what Yahweh Shah when he prayed, when he said, "Not my will, but your will." Because trying to get your will, the Lord will, the Lord can bless you with what you want, and yet still it might not be what's beneficial though. The Lord takes somebody out your life that might be for the best. Because we ain't really saying nothing yet. You know what I mean? Like you got a lot of people that think they in the truth and ain't really like struggled like that. And what you think is struggling probably ain't really struggling for real. You know what I mean? Like I know for a fact the Lord had me homeless. And the thing is, I don't mind working. I've had a job for years. So to have skill, and the thing is, it ain't like I'm a regular worker. I'm a skilled worker with a trade. They couldn't get no job. So I know that was divinely orchestrated. But you know what I mean? Like just because you going without this and without like this is about to be on a massive scale. You get what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, again, I think that's why the Lord chastises us daily. You know what I mean? Because like I said, G.I. Joe used to say, "Knowing is half the battle." You know what I mean? Yeah. To understand something is about to happen is leaves you more prepared than somebody that has no idea. But not to digress. It's another scripture. This book of how that happened. The book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 24. It said, "And if kingdom be divided against itself, and if a kingdom be divided by itself," I'm going to start up. This is Mark chapter 3, verse 23. "And he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, How can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand." And verse 26, "And if Satan rise up against himself," Salakia, "and if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end." And again, you heard what the video said, the news report. What's his name? I'm gonna have to look at it again. Glenn Jacobs, which is the wrestler Kane, that's really a politician. He said, basically, he feels that Biden is overreaching and doing something that he ain't supposed to do based on their constitution. What these people don't understand is the constitution is no longer being applied. And know how I know that for a fact? Because of the fact that I literally just was locked up. And based on the constitution, you got rights to speedy trials and all that shit. And they're not doing that now. So yeah, these people is ready for these people. All this is taking that right little spark, Salakia. So again, being that the Lord is, because this is spiritual, the Lord is working a division. That division is going to bring Isaiah 19, and then you've already start seeing, like I did a video yesterday, you got these mandates that's uh, basically been put in place and basically supposed to start take effect. Well, they've actually been ruled to be able to take effect, and you got a lot of protests going on in America right now, which is going to lead to 2nd Ezra chapter 15. What's that, verse 16? The sedition among men. So Um, yeah, we're living in some um, special times. So all I can say is, with that being said, You know, hold fast to what you have. You know what I mean? If you're in this truth, because we all are about to be tempted. You know what I mean? Especially when when these mandates start affecting more and more jobs, more and more industries. You know, right now the Lord being merciful still, because it's only affecting certain jobs with a certain amount of number. You know, certain, like me myself, I can speak of me myself. Like the company I work for, they're not a huge company, so you know you might got a little bit of time to maybe next year, because you know just like with the although they was able to roll out the distribution of the vaccine very quickly, and that was what that operation was about. Nonetheless, it still had to be distributed Nas to the point it's distributed and they got access to it, but people ain't taking it. Well, now they're coming in the way to try to coerce people into taking this by affecting your livelihood. And that should just spiritually send off like your spider sense, like, hold up, this is the first time in history, you know, with all these deadly communicable diseases, there's never been, you just ostracized out of society if you don't do this, you know. And then the funny part is, like the one brother said, his channel's Light Bear 144, it said literally, he said literally, if people would just go back to, like, if they was to treat this like the flu, how would the numbers really be? You know, I was listening to that brother. Salaki, I'm burning sage, and then not air ain't getting in here. Let me open this door a little bit. But I found out based on that brother that when you go into Klaus Schwab, that basically he had descended of the Rothschilds. So you know what I mean? Like just like he just literally, I think it was the same brother exposed the fact. Like I was aware of his book, the Fourth Industrial Revolution. You can go get that for free on PDF. I haven't had an opportunity to read it. Brother being in the truth, brother, like I used to be an avid reader, and I'm not anymore. You know, the only thing I read pretty much on a daily basis is the scripture. But this guy also wrote another book called COVID-19, The Great Reset. I'm not bullshitting. So, like this, you know, the Lord has given certain men, women, people uh, a spiritual eye to catch these things, to come across these things. And, you know, it's going to be for some that's going to see it and get it and be aware and, you know, try to warn others. And you're going to have some that's going to be just, they not going to come across any of this information because they lot is this division again. They lot is not, you know, they lot is to be judged. So, you know, you got people that trust in vaccines and trust in Esau, Edom. Scripture tell you not to trust him or not to put that confidence in man. In the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, it talks about blessed is the man. It says, curses the man that trusteth in man. But, like I think 2 verses down, it says, but blessed is the man that trusteth in Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Roughly paraphrase. So, you know, now that we coming closer to that time, that hour, you know, hold fast to what you have. If you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole, Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes,